2023. All right, ladies, thank you so much. We're back with Bloom's Diet Edition. No, not fads and gimmicks, but plans that will help you reach your health goals. And we're welcoming back registered dietitian and longevity nutritionist Ella DeVar and clinical nutritionist Sarah Bingham back for a special roundtable discussion about the hottest food trends for 2023. All right, ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you, Gail.
This is great. All right, so let's start with economical eats. That's a hot trend just because grocery prices have gone through the roof.
Look, when I moved to America as a young immigrant, I lived off of food stamps. So I've mastered the art of healthy eating on a small budget. So my top foods are canned foods and frozen foods. Frozen vegetables are just as nutritionally dense as the fresh ones, and they're much more economically acceptable, and I think it saves a lot of money. What about you, Sarah?
Okay, well, first off, people have got to get that in this country, we still are used to cheap food. Now, you know, you grew up in Russia. Food was not as cheap as it is here. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. We've got to get our heads straight that food is not, true food is not as cheap as we think it is. Therefore, we've got to change that. But the minute you get to just simple food, you're going to save money. And yes, the prices have gone up. But if you're doing simple brown rice, simple meats, simple frozen vegetables are definitely, you know, inexpensive. And the more grains and beans, that's cheap eating, baby. You can eat for a long time. And if you sprout those, if you sprout beans, that's even cheaper, okay? Because beans, when they sprout, they're like 3 times the bulk. So you can go a long way on sprouted beans and brown rice and frozen vegetables.
Okay. Now, Sarah just got through telling me to eat a bunch of meat broth, beef broth, but there is a movement to plant-based options. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. And the GAPS diet, I would say, is actually plant-based, believe it or not. So no, plant-based, absolutely. And over and over and over again, when they study people's longevity, et cetera, it's vegetables, gang. It just comes right back to vegetables. So the more you can incorporate vegetables into your life, the better. And I eat 6 to 9 cups of vegetables a day.
Wow.
All right? And I bet Ella does too.
Yeah, longevity studies support the intake of plant-based food of up to 90% of daily intake, and the top ones are beans and lentils. As starchy as they are, and they had like some bad reputation, but they're also attached to the plant-based protein, which is highly beneficial for our gut and our intestinal health.
All right, next big trend, mood-boosting foods, and we are hearing one doctor after the next, dietitianists, nutritionists saying that our guts are directly linked to our brains and our mood, and both of you have been on this show saying the same thing.
Yeah, we're pretty aligned. So it's not what food do I eat to boost my mood, it's what food do I not eat. So that the minute, and I mean the minute, I raised both my children with no white flour and no white sugar in the house, period, all right? So the minute you do that, you've got a boost in mood. You're going to think better, you're going to feel better, right?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of foods that I recommend, specifically probiotic-rich foods. Those are fermented foods like kimchi, popular in Asia, or sauerkraut, popular in Europe, that supports the microbiome in our gut, and that in turn produces serotonin, which is the happy neurotransmitter that's responsible for our sense of well-being and even sex drive.
Even a sex
Wow.
There's a bonus. That'll have everybody eating sauerkraut before the day's over. All right, mocktails, are pro or con?
Hey, listen, better than alcohol. Okay, I'll go with that. However, most mocktails are just sugar. They're just sugar syrup. So a wonderful option is kombucha. Do you know what kombucha is?
Yeah, I love kombucha.
All right then, and bars are starting to carry it and the whole bit. So you can have kombucha. Kombucha is a fermented tea. And yes, they do use sugar to ferment, but the bacteria has eaten up all the sugar and fermented it, so that by the time you have kombucha, but watch the brand, because we're in America, so there's plenty of brands that add sugar after the fermentation. Oh dear goodness. So pay attention to that. But kombucha is a great, I often have it as sort of your glass of wine at the end of the day. It's calming, it's high in theanine, it's great stuff.
Good point. I love kombucha too, but make sure to get the unsweetened original kind. And my other tubs are pomegranate juice and cranberry juice mixed with seltzer water. Give it a little jazz, and sour cherry juice.
Okay, we just have seconds left. So if you had to pick your favorite natural sweetener, what would that be, Sarah?
It's only, baby, what nature has given us, and that is raw honey. That's it. That's all you need.
All right, Sarah. Sorry, Ella.
Yes, I agree with Sarah. It's honey and maple syrup and stevia for those who need a little bit extra.
Okay, I've cut it all out.
Good for you.
I've given it all up. Maybe a little honey now and again.
Feels good.
Ladies, I love this conversation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.